take the buttons out. Take the airbag out.
Pop the switches out.
Yep. So take your airbag out, but leave it plugged in. Take the switches out, and then move the switches around. Turn them upside down, inside out, whatever you got to do. Just move them around, shake the wires around, and see if it changes stations on its own. If it does, you need to replace those switches. But if it does not, and the only time it changes, if you hold the button solid and move the wheel back and forth a little, and it does it, something's broken in that new clock spring, unfortunately. And I don't think I've ever had one do something like that. I've had a clock spring I've put in that was obviously pre-installed. When I looked at it, it was missing the pin in the middle of it, and I took the chance because I was able to wind it both directions and then divide by two and find a
stopping
center
point. Yeah.
And it worked, you know. But then I had one did the same thing and it did not work. I just wound it one way and it kept going and going and going. I said, this is garbage, let's get another one. But I've never had one where I put it together and had the radio stations change or the crews do weird things as I turned it if it was a brand new clock spring. So I'm thinking, leaning more towards the issue with the buttons themselves.
Mm-hmm. It couldn't, the screen couldn't do that on the radio side, could it?
No, it shouldn't. But now a radio, if the radio itself has a failure in it, the control unit, it could do it.
There's two presets not working, so, and if I take that trim off and press on the backside, I can make it go to the center radio station every time.
Okay, then if you can tap on that screen or tap on the dash next to it and it'll change it, that could be it too. But when you're saying it only does it when you turn the steering wheel a little bit, I'm leaning towards the clock spring and the button type thing. You can disconnect that. If you disconnect follow the column wiring down to the base of it, where those steering wheel switches go, follow the colors, and just unplug it so it can't control the radio, and drive it around. It just, all it does is removes the steering wheel from the equation. So if it still does it with that unplugged, it's definitely not in the steering column at all. Not in the buttons, the switches, the column, the wiring there, nothing, none of it. Not the clock spring. That would be in the radio then if that's disconnected. Occasionally you'll see something weird happen where another module in the car is shorted and it's causing those problems, like turn on the wipers